Hello everyone, this is Jereber speaking. Today I thought I'd talk to you about the loadouts that I'd like to use. Notice that here I'm using bow loadouts, in which case I would use this mostly at beach and at cliffs. With my bows I like to use damage and draw time for both the survivors and for the Solari. And here, it's your prerogative whether or not you want to use the semi-automatic with damage or rapid fire. It's up to you. Even with the Magnum, because this is going to be used at a bow map where you're going to be shooting people from farther away, I would recommend using stability on either account, because when you use stability on the semi-automatic pistol, that reduces almost all the recoil, and you can get a lot more headshots that way. That's the biggest issue with the Magnum, is that the recoil is so bad that you're not going to get as many headshots, and you're not going to hit them as much. But again, that's one of the good things about having steady shot here, as shown, is that it does help reduce the recoil. And of course I'm going to be using pincushion because it's going to be used at a bow map. And I like to use dynamite, so that way people who know where I'm going to be camping, they're going to try and come at me, but I'm going to blow them up because I've put the dynamite in strategic points, and they're not going to be expecting it. Especially at beach, because I'm more of an anti-tower camper. Next up, I thought I'd tell you about my explosive resistance, the grenade resistance and whatnot. As a survivor, I use this whenever someone's going to try and team kill me. I use it whenever I want to team kill someone else, especially cheaters. So, in which case I'm going to be using speed loader, because that way I can reload my grenade a whole lot faster. And notice that I am using the napalm here, which is great for setting your teammates on fire. Generally speaking, I prefer using damage, but whenever I'm in a really pissy mood, I'm going to be using a grenade, but most of the time I do not use grenades. Here, it's also a really good idea to use whenever your opponents are going to be using those fake ammo boxes all of the time, especially if you've got 3 or 4 enemies who use those fake ammo boxes and set them everywhere. This is a really good one to use. But then again, you could also use Lightfoot. I would recommend Lightfoot, particularly whenever you're playing rescue matches, in which case you would definitely want Second Wind. And you could also use Tracker as well. Tracker I like using whenever I notice that there are a lot of people who use that. But one of the best things about Lightfoot is that you can just walk over those traps and not have to worry about setting them off, like those the spike traps. And you also don't have to worry about going upside down on those regular rope traps. But most of the time I'm going to be using Grenadier anyway, the grenade resistance, because some people are going to be using dynamite against me. So next up, down here, as the Solari, this is going to be my go-to loadout, the one that I use 90% of the time. Just like as a survivor, I'm going to be using the bow loadout 90% of the time. So what I'm going to be using is the double barrel shotgun with rapid fire and extended clip, Magnum with damage and extended clip. I like using speed loader because that way I can reload my pistol faster and my shotgun as well. I'm going to be using Grenadier most of the time just because I hate grenades, I hate them, I hate them, I hate them, I hate Spite. But also, I've got this flashbang right here, which actually does damage you just a little bit every time you use it. But I just absolutely love using the flashbang grenade. I guess they call it a flash grenade here. But your opponents are going to stagger, they're going to be blinded, they're going to be hard of hearing, and that's so much better to use. Don't ever use napalm, don't ever use the fire grenade. It's stupid, you're going to miss a lot. That's why I suggest just using the flashbang grenade most of the time. As far as the shotguns, this is going to be the loadout that I use most of the time. You got 3 really fast shots. That's going to kill most of your opponents. And let's see, next up I've got bulletproof here. And with Bulletproof, it's really great to use against the macro users. And if you wanted to get out your own macro, that's fine. In which case, I would recommend you use stability with rapid fire. You could use tactical pistol, you could use the silver baller, you could use the semi-automatic pistol here. But I noticed today that I was doing actually really well. Notice that I'm actually not using the Magnum here as the Solari, but I was actually doing really well as the Solari with that semi-automatic pistol today with the rapid fire and stability. And notice, again, I'm using speed loader for the sake of reloading my weapon really quickly. If they're going to be using a macro, they're going to know where you are. They're going to be shooting at you, but if you use the smoke grenade here, they won't be able to tell where you are exactly, and they're going to be wasting a lot of bullets. So I recommend that. It's the same thing here with the flashbang. If they're going to be shooting at you, you want to trip them up and not be able to tell where you are exactly. So that's why I recommend using the flashbang yet again. Next up, I've got a shotgun loadout here. I like using, as a survivor, the pump action shotgun with rapid fire and narrow choke. That way you can shoot 6 shotgun shells very rapidly. But again, you've got great accuracy, you've got great range. I recommend this shotgun above all others. It's fast, it's decently accurate. The combat shotgun is too slow, don't ever use it. Don't ever use the fully automatic shotgun or the Agency SPS-12 because there's a fatal flaw with both of them. Their pellet spread is so wide that if someone is shooting at you with either the fully automatic or the Hitman Agency SPS-12, if someone's shooting at you with either of those shotguns, back away, you won't receive any damage. Trust me, it'll be like they're not shooting at you at all. During which time, just use your pistols and shoot them in the face. Trust me, don't ever use either one of those. They're stupid, and they almost never do the right amount of damage. So always use pump action shotgun with rapid fire and narrow choke. And of course I've got this steady shot here. It's great to use because it reduces your pellet spread and your recoil. In which case sometimes I like using the grenades, that's fine, especially if it's going to be a shotgun match, because they're going to be tripping and you're going to be using a shotgun. That's fine. Smoke grenades are fine here too. As a Solari, you're going to be wanting, again, double barrel with rapid fire and extended clip as always. It's a good idea to use steady shot, or since they're going to be using stupid things like the fully automatic or the Hitman Agency SPS-12, it's also a good idea to use speed loader. Either one's fine, but since the double barrel is so much more accurate and the pellet spread is so little, you're fine either way. But again, you've got the 3 really fast shots, and you're going to be shotgun resistant. And again, you want to trip them up. Last but not least, I've got a bow resistant loadout. When you're using shotguns, it's great to use. Let's see. Also, with the shotgun loadout, I would recommend this one if they're going to be spawn camping you. Like I've seen a couple people do, they will wait right outside your spawn with shotguns. Well, you want to use your shotguns right back at them. So yes, this is really great for those anti-spawn camping bastards. Anyway, even with this one, the cool thing about this one is if you want to spawn camp at Chasm, you really might think about using the flare gun here, because it doubles as an effective incendiary weapon. I would also recommend using the flare gun at Underground as well as Chasm, because that way you can see where your opponents are, especially at Chasm when the survivors are going to be camping at their spawn at either the left side or the right side, and that way you know where they are. It's also a really good idea to use steady shot because they're going to be a little bit farther away from you and you want to reduce pellet spread as much as possible. In which case you want the stability with the semi-automatic pistol or tactical pistol, so that way you can get more headshots and not have to worry about recoil whatsoever. It's also a really good idea as a survivor whenever you're doing the bow matches. You don't want them to see you, so I would also recommend this one at when you're doing the rescue matches too, because that way they can't see you very well. Or even what's it called? Not free for all. Cry for help. That way, even though your opponents will know that you're in that circle, they can't really pinpoint where you are exactly. So that's one of the best things about this flare grenade. Smoke grenade, my bad. That's it as far as loadouts go. If you want to know any more, just ask. Thank you. And I hope you enjoyed this session. Goodbye.